وَلْتَكُنْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ وَيَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ وَأُولَئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. My respected brothers and elders, the mercy and grace of Allah, He has given us the ability to come and gather in a short time. Those that will sit from the beginning to the end, you should try to sit from the beginning to the end. Because this is an a'mal, this is an action. The reward of the action you find or you receive upon the completion. At Salah is an action, it's an a'mal. In the beginning of Salah is when you recite Allahu Akbar. And where does it finish? It finishes after the last, the final salam is given. So you get the reward of the prayer. Similarly the fast. From the time of Subh Sadiq, Waqins, the fast begins. And where does it end? When the sun goes down. That is when the fast is completed. You get the reward when? After the sun goes down. So, my dear brothers, the person who fasts in such a way, Allah gives the reward of his fast himself. He's saying from the time we put the sheets on for Hajj to the time we shave our heads, all the way to the end, then this whole action is what has to be completed. Let's say, my dear brothers, those that will sit from the beginning to the end will benefit the most. Those who will leave in between or near the end or right close to the end, they won't get the full benefit. So, whatever desire we sit with and listen with, this will become the means of the benefit that we receive. So, my dear brothers, the intention we sit with, the struggle we make to get here, that sacrifice. He's saying the sitting is a sacrifice. To sit from beginning all the way to the end, this is the level of sacrifice, the level of mujahidah. He's saying it's the promise of Allah from the Qur'an. Those that will struggle and strive in my way to get close towards me, then what is Allah saying? Then definitely we will guide them. Subhanallah, saying that one great scholar has even commented on this verse, saying that to the nearest effect that you will be held by the hand and taken towards guidance. So we have to sit here with some desire. And what is the sign of this desire? That we sit from the beginning to the end. And my dear brothers, I was sitting here getting together, I was just gathering. It's our need. It's our need. Allah doesn't benefit from our gathering here. Don't think we are actually going to benefit Allah. No. What do we give to Allah? We can't really give anything, but Allah becomes happy. Allah becomes pleased with this action of ours, and Allah will reward us for it. Allah is independent of all of this. Allah is independent, my dear brothers. That Allah is independent, we are in need, we are poor. And Allah is independent. Allah is not in need or dependent on anyone, every single person. One hadith is saying, reciting the hadith, he's saying if the humans and the jinns from the beginning to the end, you bring them all back out and you get all the prophets alayhim salam, peace be upon them all. If everyone, all of these people become as pious as the prophets, then this will not increase in the kingship or the treasures of Allah even a small amount. However, if all of those people, the human and the jinn from the beginning to the end, if they were to become as disobedient as shaitan, as the devil, then this will not even bring a small decrease to Allah or His treasures or His kingship. So my dear brothers, the action that we do, we are doing it for ourselves. And on the Day of Judgment, when we meet Allah, Allah will give us a befitting reward or befitting a reward for what we have done. So my dear brothers, so he's saying on the day of judgment, people will praise and thank Allah for the reward they receive. And those people that don't get anything, then they will be in deep, deep sorrow and deep regret that they actually haven't set anything forward. He's saying Salah. What is Salah? Salah is the keys to paradise. So if you perform Salah, then this Salah becomes a means of entrance into paradise. You have the keys of paradise. He's saying what is fasting? Fasting is not to give Allah any benefit, but it's to gain some taqwa, some good consciousness within ourselves. If somebody receives taqwa, if somebody receives this God consciousness, then he gets the ability. You're serious, yeah? Okay. So, Isabel, if we give zakat, then it's not like we benefit Allah. No. What happens? Then upon giving zakat, then this zakat becomes, or this charity becomes a means of purifying our own wealth. Whatever we are going to take out of our wealth and give in the way of Allah, this will bring barakah and blessing within our own wealth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do what? Those who will spend in the way of Allah, Allah will definitely give them a reward for their charity. So he's saying this fasting and the zakat, all of this is for Allah to reward us. Hajj, what is this? We're going to benefit Allah? Definitely not. Hajj is for ourselves. The person who performs Hajj for the sake of Allah, what is the condition? That he doesn't do any evils, have any evil speech or any evil action. Then when he will complete, the Hajj is completed, the pilgrimage, then he will return from his Hajj as if his mother had just given birth to him, meaning he's sinless. This is an accepted Hajj. What is? He's saying the person who performs an accepted Hajj, then the return of this is nothing except paradise. The one who performs Hajj or Umrah, he does it for himself. This is what? When he will go and he will supplicate to Allah, Allah will definitely listen to his prayers. The Hajj, then when he will perform Hajj, then he will be given the ability to intercede for 400 family members. Allahu Akbar. So my dear brothers, these actions, we have to do all these actions in what way? That we are dependent. We are dependent on doing these actions. We are not going to benefit Allah, we are going to benefit ourselves, inshallah. Allah is seriously independent from any of this, my dear brothers. Allah doesn't need it. So this deen, we are in need of the deen, we are in need of practicing the religion. This listening is a means to practice religion. This becomes the means. What has been said, he said, "Oh my dear Prophet, tell them the good news." Tell them or give them the good news. Those people who listen with the ears of the heart. He's saying that some of us are sitting here, but we're not really listening. We're sitting here, we're present, but we're not listening. We listen with the ears. We listen with ears, and the heart also takes effect of it. So we listen with the ears. So we listen with the ears of the heart, meaning that we listen with the intention of making some practice. These are the people that Allah will guide. Allah will give them guidance. And these are actually the intelligent people. So may Allah give us the ability to listen in the correct manner. So the deen, Allah has kept the success of this world and the hereafter only in the deen of Allah. Those, whatever amount or proportion of Islam is in our life, to that extent will be our success. And whatever amount of deficiency there is in our life in regards to how much religion we follow, that this is how much failure we will have in our life in this world and the hereafter. So, some people feel we practice the deen, but where's the benefit? Why? Because we are actually half-hearted, unfortunately. Half-hearted. Why is Allah saying in the Qur'an that all you who believe, enter into paradise completely. So who will get the benefit? Those who will completely practice Islam. So if we are 50-50 or half-hearted, we won't get the true benefit. What is for them? Read certain verse of Qur'an. That definitely we will give them punishment in dunya, in this world. We will give them anxiety, we will give them problems. Why? So we can actually turn to Allah. So those people who will live life away from the religion of Islam, or even half-hearted, they will be tested. This test is a mercy of Allah. This test is a mercy of Allah to get us to turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So my dear brothers, happiness, it puts us to sleep. And worries, it wakes us up. You're saying, isn't it? Isn't that when we have a nice sweet sleep, it puts us to bed. We don't understand. I mean, we can't sleep, it wakes us up. We feel awake. So this anxiety or worry is for us to turn to Allah in repentance. If you repent, then you're on the road back to success. And if you don't, then there'll be more. This world is also a place of means and effect. If you put ice inside water, the water is going to turn cold. So he's saying that when we enter difficulties and calamities, then we can't turn towards sin to relieve ourselves from this harm. But if we do, it just becomes worse. He said, what is the solution? That we turn to Allah, not towards sin. If we turn towards Allah, then our job's done. So this is why, my dear brothers, the difficulties or hardship that come our way, this is from Allah, and it's a very great mercy actually. We don't really know, we haven't understood this. The child cries. Somebody says, where's the mother for this child? So someone says the mother's close. So then someone says that why is the mother why is she not attending to the child? Then he replies that she's getting this child ready for bath. That the mother is getting the bath ready for the child, and she's allowing this child to cry. Why? So she can bring the child close after this. After bringing the child close, she's going to clean him. After cleaning him, then she's going to really hold this child close. Similarly, our walking, talking, we're in sin, covered in sin, unfortunately. And Allah puts us through a little more difficulty. Why? So we can turn close to Allah and cleanse ourselves of our sins through Dawah. So we end up saying, oh Allah, why is this happening to me? Why is it my children all listen? Or why is it my wife doesn't listen? We shouldn't be like this. We should actually turn towards Allah straight away. See, there was a time when the Muslims understood that when we go through hardship, it's from Allah. There was a time where somebody would want to get up on the horse, and the horse would stumble. So what would they do? They wouldn't shout at the horse or say, what a joke this horse is. They would get off the horse and they would go perform salah towards Allah. So he's saying, subhanAllah, saying there was a time where people used to turn to Allah in difficulty. He's saying, one great scholar, he's saying that whenever I have committed a sin, the people that sit in my crowd, I realize that nobody wants to listen anymore. Nobody listens to my talks. So this is a system, he's saying, what is this? It's a system that we have to understand. That Islam is a system. It teaches us how we should be living. That when we sin, Allah will bring hardships our way. The hardships, the purpose is so we turn to Allah, and inshallah through this turn towards Allah, Allah will remove it from you. However, if He doesn't, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put him through more difficulties. He's reciting verse of Qur'an that those people who will be half-hearted, He will do some good deeds and He will leave some half-hearted. Then, for those people, what has Allah kept for them? At the end of the world, He will have difficulties and He will have disgrace. So my dear brothers, when we sin, we get difficulties that come from Allah. And our life will become straightened, it will become tough, it will become difficult. And this is the punishment in this world. And on the day of judgment, he will be raised blind. And what will he turn around and say, oh Allah, I was one who used to see, my eyes were fine. Why is it today that I'm blind? Why is it that today I've been raised and I cannot see? What will be the reply? This is all in the Qur'an, by the way. That my religion was presented to you, Qur'an was presented to you, my verses were presented to you, however, you neglected it, you didn't act upon it, and you turned your eyes away from it. So today, we have remained blind. We have remained blind. So this is the difficulties we face in the dunya as well as akhirah. We turn towards Allah and say, oh Allah, I'm in difficult times. So we've been told, my dear brothers, look at our actions. This is why our ulama have told us about sin and different types of sin. And the purpose of talking about it is so we can abstain from it. Or else we're going to do good deeds and sin at the same time. And we're going to end up thinking, you know what, I'm pious, mashallah, because I do a lot of good deeds. And actually further to this, we'll end up in a bit of doubt that we sin and do good deeds. But then we think, hold on, where's the peace and contentment? I practice the religion, but unfortunately while we're practicing the religion, we also sin. This is why we have to leave sin. And unfortunately we're sunk in sin today. Every single person. Today we don't even think a sin is a sin. Today we actually change the name of the sin and say it's something that's so to say legitimate. There was a time he's saying that today alcohol, we give it a different name and say, well, some type of liquid, isn't it? I don't know. He's giving an example. He's saying that ghiba and backbiting happens inside gatherings today. So people don't say, oh, well, we're not backbiting, we're just talking. It's such a great sin, he's saying. You go to a scholar's house, and if somebody puts alcohol in front of a scholar, is this not a great disgrace? Should we not even say anything? So he's saying, today we understand that alcohol is a sin. But then today we don't think ghiba and backbiting is a sin. However, backbiting is worse than alcohol, the consumption of alcohol. He's saying somebody asked the scholar one question, oh Mufti Sahib, some pious people are sitting down talking, is it okay that they can sit and talk? They can sit around and talk, is it okay? So he's saying, until today no one's asked me a question, that if pious people sit down and talk, what's the question here? So then he said, what if they start backbiting in the conversation? So then Mufti Sahib, he says, well, this isn't permissible. So saying somebody all night, he has a good gathering taking place, but for the last 2 minutes he backbites, then his entire night is worthless. Someone who backbites becomes very far from Allah. They're saying today, we change the name of sin and think it's legitimate. We lie, say we don't lie, it's just an excuse, we're not lying, it's an excuse. The wife says, I'm not lying, it's just an excuse I'm offering. So it's not an excuse actually, we're lying. Lying is such a bad sin, he's saying. He's saying that lying is one of the biggest out of the big sins. And Allah in the Qur'an has put it with the words of a great sin, a bad sin, sorry. So we have to understand such a bad sin. He's saying that we have to abstain from the worship of idols and stay away from lying. So this has come together in the Qur'an. So when we will understand this, that lying comes with the worship of idols, we can understand how bad this sin is. So if we are indulged in it, we got to free ourselves from it. Mentioning the verse of Qur'an, a believer is he that when Allah is mentioned or the awareness of Allah is felt, then his heart trembles and his heart will wake him up. He will understand and he will become alert. my dear brothers, today, because we haven't made effort on our iman, then we don't even take a sin as a sin. Where's our heart going to tremble? And the lie, we don't even say it's a lie. And difficulties go from bad to worse. Somebody was, we got to abstain from lying. What did Rasulullah say? The Prophet ﷺ has said that a person who speaks the truth, this will take him towards salvation, and the one who lies, it takes him towards destruction. So we have to really believe it. It's a hadith of the Prophet. We say, oh, I was compelled to lie. Does anyone lie while they're happy or when they're not in a situation? That is the time to lie, isn't it? You're compelled to lie. That is the time you talk the truth. That is the test. In the Qur'an, it's saying that at the time of lying, sometimes we feel the sweetness of lying. We feel that we're going to benefit some way. We feel like we're going to save ourselves from a great loss by lying. But he's saying the effect of that lying is going to be far worse than what you saved yourself from. So he's saying, my dear brothers, to hide one lie, we end up speaking another 10 lies. So we think, if I'm going to tell the truth, I'm going to go under some hardship, some difficulty. But if we talk the truth and speak the truth, then for that time being, maybe we feel like we're going to go through some hardship. But Allah will make a way. Allah will definitely make a way for him. Saying the Qur'an has plenty of examples. Mentioning the verse of Qur'an. In one battle, Ka'ab ibn Malik, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Hilal ibn Murara, and another Sahabi just mentioned, 3 Sahaba, they did not go to one expedition. And Rasulullah was really upset or angry because they didn't go. He said, it's a long story, cut it short, they returned. What did the hypocrites start saying? That the hypocrites started saying, giving excuses, oh, there was nobody to overlook our houses and etc. And they swore by Allah that, you know what, I swear, this is the situation, this is why we didn't come. This was what the hypocrites did. So Ka'ab ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu says that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me the ability to say such words that I could convince him about why I didn't come. But this is the demand of Iman, that I have to speak the truth, even though I'm going through hardship. So what did he come and say? Oh, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I didn't come because I kept procrastinating, I kept putting off, I'm going to go, and I didn't end up going, and you returned. Upon this, all the Muslims boycotted them, and they were not allowed to talk to or to communicate with, buy and sell, etc. So nobody would come and talk to them. How long? 50 days. 50 days. What does the Qur'an mention about this? That they felt that the earth, although it was so vast, it felt so narrow and straightened. So even, subhanAllah, the cousin brothers are not even replying to the greeting of salam. Such a test. Test after test came. The Christians sent a letter saying that we have heard that your masters ill-treated you. Come over to us, we will favor you, we will look after you. This was a test for him. And he didn't fall for this test. The letter, he threw it into the fire. So my dear brothers, we've got to talk the truth. Allah will make a way for us. The hypocrites, they got their way out by lying. Anyway, so after 40 days, you should be separated from your wives. Imagine how tough that is. Everyone's away from them now, even your nearest and dearest, your wife. You'll be separated. Again, he's saying, but again, look, it's just for a short time. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept the name of Ka'ab ibn Malik alive until the day of judgment. We are talking about him today. Yeah? Upon talking the truth, we are talking about him today. And the hypocrites, at the time, they escaped. But forever, look, we're talking ill about them, they lied, and look at their situation. Subhanallah. So say, my dear brothers, we have to say, take it upon ourselves that doesn't matter what happens, I'm going to talk the truth. There is great blessing and barakah in speaking the truth. He just mentioned the name of another Sahabi from amongst the Tabi'een, from the son of Hajjaj bin Yusuf. And he was a pious man. that he never spoke a lie during his lifetime. There was a time where Muslims wouldn't tell the truth. Somebody asked the Prophet ﷺ, can a Muslim commit adultery? The Muslim said, yeah, because of his nafs. Can somebody steal? Yes, someone can steal. Can someone do such and such? Yes, they can do such and such. And then somebody said, also, can a Muslim lie? We said, a Muslim cannot lie. So other sins may be done by Muslims, but a Muslim shouldn't lie. Anyway, he's saying, talking about Hajjaj bin Yusuf, that once somebody came and he asked them that he didn't realize it was Hajjaj bin Yusuf, and he said, what do you think of the leader of the time? And he said, oh, he's a bad man, and he's you know, he doesn't look after us, and he doesn't do this and doesn't do that. And Hajjaj bin Yusuf, what did he reply? He said, look, I'm Hajjaj bin Yusuf, you haven't recognized me. And you're right in what you say. Whatever you say, I've done that, no problem. But since my mother's given birth to me, there's one thing that I haven't done. I've never lied, always talk the truth. SubhanAllah. So my dear brothers, so this Tabi'in he's talking about, I missed the beginning, I'm sorry. He mentioned, someone mentioning about his father, go and ask this person, go and call him, where is he? They're saying, my son, he's hiding inside my house. So then he was brought forward. Hajjaj bin Yusuf, that Hajjaj bin, his heart became soft as well, that because of your truth, that I'm going to forgive your son. I missed the beginning, I'm sorry. Yeah? He must have been wanted or something. They're saying, anyway, we have to save ourselves from lying and sin. And he's saying, if we have the strength of Iman, the Iman is what will make us hit the brakes. We have to hit the brakes when it comes to sin. But you need the strength of Iman. What is the Qur'an saying? That our hearts will tremble with the remembrance of Allah. The person who is pious, that when shaitan, the devil, brings temptation towards him, then his eyes will open and he becomes alert and he becomes aware of Allah. He's saying, my dear brothers, Umar radiallahu anhu, during his era, Ibn Kathir mentions an incident. Somebody came to the masjid and used to offer his salah, and he always used to try to protect his eyes all the time. And he's saying, Shaitan has made a promise. What is the promise? That definitely I'm going to take people astray, and I'm going to make all efforts to take them in the wrong path. How? Oh, Shaitan is saying this, that I will attack the people and take them towards the hellfire. How will I attack them? From where? In front of them, behind them, from the right and on the left. He made a promise. But he didn't say two things. He didn't say he's going to attack us from above and below. So one scholar said, if you look up and walk, then you're going to hit something while you're walking. What is the way we could travel? Lower your gaze. This is the way to travel. He's saying today, our eyes, unfortunately, is a great sin. It's a grave sin that we misuse our eyes. So he's saying, why is it such a grave sin? He's saying, the scholars, what is such a grave sin? Because the Iman, it becomes really weakened by the misuse of the eyes. There was one mu'adhin, one person used to call the adhan. He went up to the roof to call the adhan, and when he looked down, he saw a woman who was sitting there. He said, look what happens if you don't look after your eyes. So as soon as he saw this woman, his heart changed. He came down, knocked on the door, and he came and said, who are you? He said, I'm such and such. He said, who's the lady in this house? She said, this is my daughter. He said, back in the day, in those days, marriage was really easy. So he came and said, look, I want to marry your daughter. And he said, I want to marry your daughter. He said, no, you can't marry her. You're a Muslim, I'm a Christian. And he said, no, you can't marry my daughter. You're a Muslim, I'm a Christian. So this person, what did he say? He thought, you know what? For a short time, let me become a Christian. I'll marry the girl and I'll convert her to Islam. So he said, I'll tell you what, look, I'll become a Christian like you. If I become Christian, you marry your daughter to me? Yep, I will. So what is been mentioned in this book is saying, so during a short time, he said, I'll become a Christian. And he married this woman, and then he was on his way back to the masjid, thinking I'll go pull the adhan now. As he was walking up the stairs, he fell off and he died. They're saying that not protecting the eyes is such a bad sin, that it brings the anger of Allah. He said, with his eyes, look at your mother, look at your father, look at the Qur'an. Don't misuse the eyes. That the heart, Allah has made the heart such a pure place, that the heart should be such that it only contains the love of Allah. That Allah and the greatness of Allah cannot be contained in the heaven and earth, but the heart can contain the greatness of Allah, the love of Allah. That if you protect your eyes in the right way, the heart can be filled with the love of Allah and the greatness of Allah. So Iman, if you don't control your eyes, your Iman is at risk. So he's saying, my dear brothers, similarly, just the way a man wants a woman, if a woman doesn't control her eyes, she will also want man. So he's saying, this young man, go back to the story of Umar radiallahu anhu, this young man during his time used to go to the masjid, he would always control his eyes. So there was a woman who used to see him, she would try to get his attention. Yeah? And he said, may Allah give us, we should ask Allah as well to help us protect our eyes. May Allah protect our eyesight. Amen. So he's saying, so this woman would always try and get his attention, she'd try and call him, but he'd always control his eyes. Once, unfortunately, when she called him over, he started coming over. And when he came close to her house, or he came to her house, he remembered a verse of Qur'an. And at that time, when he remembered as he got closer to her house, he remembered, what am I doing? What am I doing? At that moment, with the rush of this thought, he fell unconscious. And she thought, what am I going to do now? She can see this young man, he's unconscious in front of him. So they went and she and a slave in the house went and pushed him towards the side on a rope. So somebody saw him on the road, they picked him up, they took him home. And he was taken home. When he regained consciousness, his father asked him, what happened to you? What happened to you? So he said, the father said, I swear by Allah, you must tell what happened to you. So he said that this is what happened. She would always tempt me every single day. I would control my eyes, I'll sleep today. But when I got there, I remembered Allah. Because of that, I fell unconscious. And as he was thinking about that verse of Qur'an again, he passed out and he actually died in his condition. Anyway, so Janazah, his funeral was done, he was buried. A few days later, Umar radiallahu anhu was informed about this situation. So Umar radiallahu anhu went to the house, to the grave of this person, and when he went there, he stood there with some people, and he mentioned the verse of Qur'an. He said, oh, such and such. He mentioned the verse of Qur'an that the one who fears the standing before Allah, Allah will give them 2 paradises. And then Umar radiallahu anhu, while he was at the grave, he mentioned this. He said, oh, you who feared the standing before Allah, Allah will give you 2 paradises. And the people that were there, and Umar radiallahu anhu, they heard a voice, they heard a reply, that, oh Umar radiallahu anhu, Allah has granted me those 2 paradises. So he's saying, my dear brothers, we have to, from right now, make tawbah, turn towards Allah. Allah will wipe it away, Allah will wash our sins away. This is a great virtue of making tawbah. The same, my dear brothers, if somebody wants to get his daughter married and he thinks, I haven't got much means, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help him. He should fix a date and turn towards Allah. Allah will make some way for him. Look what happens with our masajid today. We've got no means, but we buy the land somehow. Yeah, we get the money together. Allah makes some means, and a certain day comes where the money is repaid as well. So he's saying, my dear brothers, it's the command of Allah. We try. Allah will make ways. So he's saying, my dear brothers, we have to turn to Allah, repent from our sins, apparent, hidden. We've got to hide. We've got to turn to Allah. My dear brothers, he's saying the sins which are hidden is like a cancer within us. We can't see it, but we spiritually die. Yeah, we spiritually die. What are some of these? These are, he's mentioned some spiritual diseases, that we have jealousy, greed, which was what took Adam alayhi salam out. Hasad, jealousy. The sons of Adam alayhi salam, one murdered the other. Why? Because of jealousy. Mentioned in al-Hadith, O people, save yourself from jealousy, because it eats away your sin just as wood is eaten away by fire. So my dear, jealousy, all our deeds get eaten away through jealousy. He's saying pride, that you think that you're somebody, that I've got a nice car, I've got a nice house. My dear brothers, no. That, well, Allah saying in the Qur'an, that if you want to be big, you want to be great, then this is my quality, or this is my cloak. You can't fight the cloak of Allah. So I say, my dear brothers, a child that wants to fight with an adult, it's a joke, isn't it? You think, how it's not possible, how's a child going to fight an adult? They say, you're trying to fight with Allah in pride. So it's in pride, my dear brothers. Hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu that person will never get close to paradise. He who has a very small portion, a tiny amount of pride in his heart. So he said, Manu, you tell me, how much of a big sin is that to have pride? What is the Qur'an saying? The Qur'an is telling us that the one who will swallow his anger and will forgive the people, such people who do good deeds like this, Allah keeps them close and loved. So I say, my dear brothers, when we don't control our anger, it also destroys our a'mal, our deeds. Just somebody asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, O Prophet of Allah, give me some good advice. The Prophet replied, don't become angry. He said, O Rasulullah, give me some more advice. The Prophet replied, don't become angry. He asked for more advice, and the third time said, do not become angry. 3 times, don't become angry, don't become angry, don't become angry. Why? It eats away your sins. It demolishes them. So many of us have anger. He's saying that Allah has given us anger. Why? So we can save ourselves from harm. But we use our anger in the wrong way. We take advantage of anger. He's saying, one youngster told somebody, you always become angry. So he asks, he says, oh uncle, give me some fire. The uncle says, I haven't got no fire. He said, please give me a tiny bit then. He said, look, I told you I haven't got no fire. So this youngster says, but I can see the smoke. Give me a little bit of fire. Then he became really angry. Then he became really angry. And then he said, I can see so much anger from you. I can see the smoke of it from you. They say, my dear brothers, today over small things we become really angry. He's saying husband and wife, over small things, they become divorced. He said, so this is a spiritual disease, it's a cancer that eats you within spiritually. So he said, my dear brothers, we have to outwardly refrain from sin, inwardly refrain from sin. So he said, my dear brothers, we will make tawbah today. We make tawbah inshallah. Yeah? They say, my dear brothers, this is the only way we can keep our iman strong. Refrain from sin, make tawbah. This iman, my dear brothers, the iman has levels. One is that we have the servitude or conviction through sight and conviction through knowledge. Saying, what is the knowledge? The wife brings you a cup of tea. Then you have knowledge that your wife has brought you tea. can see with your own eyes. So this is the conviction of the eyes, that you could see that this tea is hot. So, and then when you feed it and drink it, then you know you are convinced through the truth because you have experienced it. So he's saying the Iman is such that it goes through stages. So he's mentioned a verse of Qur'an that we should have enough Iman that the Iman should tremble. When we come towards sin, we should think, how can I disobey the Allah who has raised me throughout my whole life? Allah who gave me my hands and my feet, that Allah who made it easy for me to come into this world through the means of my mother. How can I disobey this Allah? Our heart should really tremble. And he's saying, further to this, and when the verses of Qur'an is mentioned in front of him, then his Iman should increase, his belief should increase. And then he should start bringing more trust on Allah. That, you know what? It's Allah. Allah will do. Allah is the one who is doing. Allah will continue to do. I will put my reliance on Allah. This is tawakkul, this is reliance. So even if, like, the whole dunya is like a toy. Yeah, it's like a toy that you throw around. This is a quality of Iman, that the dunya is just like a toy. You can throw it around, you can play around with it. It's like nothing. It doesn't affect you. But saying today we don't have that yaqeen and that conviction in Allah. That things happen in dunya, our heart is all over the place. So we're worried about poverty, we're worried about wealth, we're worried about all of these things. Allah is the one who gives kingship, and Allah is the one who takes it away. If Allah wants to make somebody king, or give kingship, Allah gives it to them. If Allah wants to take it away and make them disgraced, Allah will make them disgraced. If Allah wants to give somebody respect, Allah gives them respect. If Allah wants to disgrace somebody, Allah gives them disgrace. If Allah wants to give somebody wealth, Allah gives them wealth. If Allah wants to make them poor and put them in poverty, Allah puts them in poverty. So if Allah wants to make the rain fall from somewhere, Allah will make it fall. If Allah wants to stop the rain, Allah will stop the rain. If Allah wants to forgive someone, He forgives them. And if He wants to punish someone, He will punish them. So everything is from Allah. Allah is the one who does. This yaqeen, this conviction we have to bring into the heart. Respect and disgrace is in the hands of Allah. The Lord Misri, rahimahullah, he's on a ship. Says other people on the ship as well. So somebody got stolen. When somebody got stolen, then the one who steals is the one who starts making a bit of noise. Yeah, he steals and makes some noise so that he doesn't get caught. So everybody says, oh, what got stolen? Who stole it? Everyone says, it's not me, it's him, it's not him, it's him. So then Lord Misri, rahimahullah, when he was quiet, people said, you know what, it's probably him, he's the quiet guy over there. So people came over to him. And then he said, no, I haven't done anything. But people wasn't listening to him, so they started hitting him, they started beating him up. He made sabr, he was patient. When the ship got to the shore, then what happened? They saw a huge multitude of people. And then what happened? People on the boat said, what are you guys here for? And then what are you guys here for? What were you guys here for? So the people say, you know what, on this boat of yours is Lulul Misri, he's such a great scholar, etc. And then people turn around and say, well, who is he? And when they see him, it's the guy they beat up. They say, SubhanAllah, you're such a man that you get beaten by the people and you also get welcomed by the people. So he's saying, there was this level of Iman. When a person does good deeds and he becomes happy, and if he sins then his heart becomes uneasy, that this is a sign of Iman. Another sign, hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that when a difficulty comes your way, that you become patient. Why do you be patient? Because you have Iman. And when favors come your way, then you are grateful to Allah. This is a sign of Iman, the patience and the gratitude. Another sign of Iman, he's saying that whatever condition comes your way, whatever the condition is, you are just content upon this condition. You are pleased with Allah in whatever condition you are. This was like the Sahaba radiallahu anhu. One Sahabi, that he was asked, how has this morning passed? said, look at the signs of Iman. What is the reply of the Sahabi? Oh Rasulullah, I have, alhamdulillah, passed my morning with Iman. Rasulullah asked, what are the signs then? You said you passed with Iman. What did he reply? He says, this is Rasulullah, that I have made my nafs turn away from the dunya, turn away from the world. My heart has not run towards anything of the world. I've cut my heart off from it. The desire and the temptations, I've stopped my heart from it. And I've turned towards simplicity. And I fast during the day, and during the night I stand in salah, in prayer. This is signs of Iman. Further, it's as if I can see in front of my eyes the throne of Allah, and I can see the system of the angels. What did Rasulullah reply? That whoever has a heart like this, Allah has actually enlightened the heart with the light of faith, the light of Iman. He's saying, and Rasulullah say, that this level of Iman will not always stay with you. So my dear brothers, Iman, when we have the strength of Iman, fasting becomes easy during the day, standing in salah becomes easy during the night. Why? Because the signs of Iman is strong. So when we will stand in salah, we will feel the taste in prayer. We will feel, subhanAllah, that love and the passion in prayer. That's why the people who are lovers of Allah, they love prayer. They love waiting for prayer. They're just eager for the next prayer time. They can't wait. And they become so happy at the time of prayer. They're saying that, what are we going to understand from that passion that they have? What are we going to understand from the taste they have? He's saying, it's like a person who newly gets married. Person newly gets married. And then somebody says to him, look, don't go to your wife. I've got a really, really nice bar of chocolate. Don't go to your wife. It's so nice and sweet. He said, what are you talking about? So he's thinking, what sweetness can this chocolate give me that my wife can't give me? He thinks you're having a laugh, you're having a joke. No way. He's saying, someone who is not reached maturity, someone who is so mature, he can never understand the desire of those who are mature. You know what we're talking about? So he's saying, similarly, you can't understand the lovers of Allah when they come towards the worship of Allah, the ecstasy that they get from it. You can't even imagine it today. So what do? They wait for salah. They wait for prayer times. And who's the one who gives them this ecstasy and passion? So Allah gives them. Saying today we don't even perform in optional prayers. The lovers of Allah, what do? They understand salah. Salah is a way for me to meet my beloved, for me to connect with my beloved. What is salah? Salah is a means of conversation with Allah. So they love turning towards salah. So I say, when our iman will have some level of strength, then within obedience will be a taste, a lovely taste. These are signs of iman, my brothers. We become happy with good deeds. We struggle to do good deeds, but we'll be happy with it. One great scholar, that if people knew, if the kings and the monarchs knew that what contentment we, as in the scholars, what a content life we are living, then they would approach us with swords to have a portion of this. So he knows the. He's saying that they knew what the kings and the monarchs, what desires they can fulfill. But what is he saying? If they knew what we have, they would fight us for it. They would open up our hearts for it. Mentioning the verse of the Qur'an, the one who will trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then surely Allah will become sufficient for him. He will have no worry, no anxiety. Why? Allah is with him. Like a child says to his friend, I'm going for Hajj, I'm going for pilgrimage. And his friend says, have you got money? Tickets done? Money? No. Tickets? No. Passport? No. So everything you ask him, have you got it? I can't go. So he said, look, how are you going to go? Got no money, no passport, no tickets. And then he says, how are you going to go then? So then the son, he says, the child, he says one thing. Well, I'm going with my father. I'm going with my dad. So his friend says, okay, I understand. The father's going to sort everything out. Yeah. So he says, similarly, when we will have Allah, then we say, oh, Allah. All questions are finished there. We understand? Turn to Allah. The one who will have tawakkul and trust in Allah, Allah becomes sufficient for him. Allah in all conditions, all situations, Allah will be sufficient for him. This is the sign of Iman. What is tawakkul? He's saying you should understand this as well. Use your means. Use your means. Use the means that you have, but you trust and rely on the result that comes from Allah. This is what tawakkul and trust is. He's saying tawakkul is also a worship. Ibn Adham rahimahullah, somebody came to him, Shaqiq Balki, that I'm going to take leave for a few days for some sustenance. So after a couple of days he came back. He said, look, why have you come back already? He said, look, dear teacher, I saw a few things on the way, that's why I returned. That I saw that within a jungle, he mentioned the name of some animal, I don't know what it is in English, I'm sorry. But a tiger or a lion comes along, eats, and then leaves a few things behind. And he said, I just kept watching this, like he brings things, eats a bit, leaves it behind, eats a bit, comes and leaves it behind. And then he said, when I saw this, I thought, subhanAllah, Allah provides for everyone. That even a tiger or this lion is eating, comes and leaves a few bits behind, so I returned. So his teacher said to him, look, why do you want to be like this small animal? Why don't you be like the lion or the tiger? Yeah, don't be like the person who relies on others. You should rely on Allah. One person came and said, I have taken all the responsibility of my family members' food, shelter, everything. I've taken responsibility. That I've taken the responsibility of the food and the shelter of my family, and I'm allowing them to get on with the worship of Allah. And the reply that was given to him was that all the action that you're doing, your brother will receive the reward of this as well. Somebody was, what is he saying? People that are close to Allah, they will be punctual in their prayers. He's saying, today we come for salah and we say Allahu Akbar. And what are we saying? What do we mean when we say this? Oh Allah, you are the greatest. We're saying it with the tongue, but the heart's not accepting it. We say Allah, you're the greatest, but the heart's not saying it. We're saying it from the tongue. We are praising Allah in salah, and we are praising Allah. But however, unfortunately, that praise of Allah is not entered the heart yet. He's saying Surah Fatiha, we are praising Allah, but even in the heart still not accepting it. They say, my dear brothers, if we die in such a condition, that we will die as someone who hasn't got much value in their life. Love has to develop. Then, when the love for Allah develops, then to spend in the way of Allah, to give everything in the way of Allah will become easy. Say, my dear brothers, Allah has given us His heart so we can develop the love of Allah. Love. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he had such great love for Allah. That's why sacrificing everything for Allah became really easy. Leaving the children, leaving the wife became easy. Leaving the children became easy. Putting the knife in the throat of the child became easy. Everything sacrificed for Allah became easy. Why? Because the love of Allah in His heart. So even if you get a fraction of that love in our heart, once Ibrahim alayhi salam was with his sheep, taking his sheep, and somebody came past and said a few verses praising Allah. So Ibrahim alayhi salam got overtaken with emotion, and he said, whoa, come over here. What is it? He said, please, whatever you just recited, just say it one more time. The person said, well, what are you going to give me? What are you going to give me? He says, okay, you see my sheep over here? I'll give you half of it. So this person, he recited the verse of praise of Allah, and he says, Ibrahim alayhi salam again, he said, please, just one more time, say what you said again, say it again. What are you going to give me this time? He says, you see the sheep that's left over, you take the other half now. So recite the praise of Allah again. And then after he said it, Ibrahim says, please one more time, say it again. What are you going to give me now? So Ibrahim alayhi salam, what did he say? He said, look, you see all the sheep you have? You need somebody to look after them, right? He said, yeah. He said, I'll become your slave. Take me. SubhanAllah. Then this person was actually an angel in the form of a man and said that glad tidings for you, that this was a test from Allah to show us, the angels, how beloved Allah is to you. So my dear brothers, the love of Allah must come to the heart. The struggle and the strive that we do to get towards Allah, subhanAllah. Anyway, he's given on a story. Asma radiallahu ta'ala anha. Who is she? She is the sister of the Prophet's wife. Who is Asma radiallahu anha? She is the daughter of Albaqarah radiallahu anha. Rasulullah says that every Nabi, every Prophet has a bodyguard. My bodyguard is Zubayr radiallahu anha. And she was his wife. Anyway, so she's got plenty of virtues, he's trying to say. However, look at the sacrifice she made for the sake of Allah. Asma radiallahu anha herself says, I was pregnant and my husband was always in the way of Allah. One day, a second, a third, poverty entered the house, my husband's in the way of Allah. Then she becomes uneasy. What do? She turns to Allah. There was a neighbor which was Jewish, so she sacrificed an animal, a goat, and she was cooking it. And then the smell of the goat came into her house, and she says the smell got to my stomach, the hunger inside me. And subhanAllah, she says the hunger that I felt was unbearable. So she thought, you know what, let me go there and ask her for some fire. Maybe she might offer me some meat. So I went there and asked, please give me some fire. The lady gave me the fire, but she didn't offer me no meat. So she came out, what am I going to do with the fire? She put it out, threw it away. She said, you know what, let me go second time. Again, please give me some fire. She gave some fire, she didn't give no meat again. Second, a third time it happened. And then she turned to Allah, she was in tears. Oh Allah, only you can help me. You assist me, Allah. She was in tears. Allah. Then, so she turned towards Allah, asking the assistance of Allah. He's mentioning a verse or a hadith saying that no soul will die until they have consumed the sustenance that was written for it. So you should look in good places for your sustenance, meaning halal. Does it mean that my shop's not running well, so let's take it to off license? No, not like that. He's saying that if your sustenance takes time to come to you, then be patient, don't turn towards sin. That if your sustenance takes time to come to you, don't turn towards sin. Why? Because whatever is in the treasures of Allah only comes through obeying Allah. If you turn to Allah in obedience, Allah will do. No one can have Allah compelled to give them. So anyway, so he's going to story. So Asma, she's in tears, she's crying. So this Jewish lady, her husband comes home. So she goes to wash her hands, he washes his hands. So when the meat was put in front, he says to her, look, has anyone come to our house yet? Has anyone come to our house before he partakes of the food? She says, yeah, there was a woman who's pregnant, she came to our house. What did he say? He said, it's from Allah. This man, what did he say to his wife? I swear that I will not touch this food until you fill up this pot and you go and give some to her. Subhanallah. So when this pot of food came to her, she says, Subhanallah, I swear by Allah, the happiness that I felt in my heart, it was as if the entire world had been walked to my feet. This is how I felt. They're saying to them, my dear brothers, if poverty comes to us, hunger, patience, isn't it? Yeah? Patience. My dear brothers, on the day of judgment, a person will regret on the day of judgment. If he hasn't done enough good deeds, he will always say, oh Allah, please return me, send me back. The person who had money but didn't spend in the way of Allah, what would he say in the day of judgment? Qur'an, oh Allah, please send me back for a short time. I will give everything in your way. I will spend it in your path. At that time, no respite. Allah will not give anyone a single second. The life of the Akhirah is unlimited. But to make that life which is unlimited, which is forever, we have to spend this limited life in the way of, in the obedience of Allah. This is what I'm going to do. We have to go in the way of Allah, learn. So if we give short, small things in the way of Allah, Allah will give us His return. If you give money in the way of Allah, Allah will give His return. If you give your life in the way of Allah, Allah will give His return. If you give some of your life in the way of Allah, Allah will barakah in your life. Allah will give you, Allah will bless your life. If you spend money in the way of Allah, Allah will bless your life. Why is the Qur'an saying that when he will enter paradise, wherever he looks, he just sees the blessings of Allah. Wherever his eyesight turns, it's just the favours of Allah. That's all he sees. That's the only thing he sees. That on the Day of Judgment, Allah will ask that today, I want to please you because you pleased me in the dunya. And the person will say, oh Allah, why should I not be happy? You've given me everything. What will be the reply of Allah? What is the reply? That Allah will give, that as if today, I will only be pleased with you, never ever to be displeased with you. That is going to be the rule of Akhirah. So in the dunya, we spend our money, spend some of our life in the way of Allah, Allah will give us a benefit in return. So for this reason, are you ready to give some time in the way of Allah? Yeah, we'll give inshallah. So who is ready inshallah to start giving their names to go in the way of Allah? First of all, we'll start with 4 months inshallah. You can go now. Bismillah. Stand up. Please try not to leave the gathering. If you really, some dire necessity you have to go, understandable, but not just out of just leaving. MashaAllah, people standing up, I guess it's for names. Bismillah, give your names.